What's up, people? It's Niche Girl 30 here, and this is my Smackdown review for June 1st. I'm gonna be honest, I actually did not mind the opener. When Sheamus actually came out and did his little promo, I didn't mind it at all. Because, Sheamus gonna come out, and actually do his little babyface spiel, but to me, it just seems like that Sheamus is not really becoming so much of a babyface. I mean, have you ever heard of a hoodlum being a babyface? But regardless of that, Alberto Del Rio, good grief, I love this guy as a heel. Before, I really did not admire him because, let's face it, he had probably the most mediocre, boring title reign I've ever experienced in my life, on up to WrestleMania 27. But I highly doubt he's going to get the belt, but I could be wrong. But regardless of that, he is awesome as a heel. The guy actually has flavor. He has charisma. He has class. He just, besides his gorgeous cars that he comes out in, good grief, I love this guy as a heel. I really do. And God bless David Otunga. He comes out and he literally does what he has to do to get his 15 minutes on air so he can get his paycheck. God bless that guy. He will do whatever he can to feed his family. So, but it's kind of funny how he keeps coming out with the whole stupid apology thing, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. And for real, they really need to move on from there. But the fact that he gave Alberto Del Rio free reign to name his opponent, good idea. Because it actually does kind of bring up the feud a little bit more. It kind of puts some heat between the both of these guys and actually makes the feud more intense for the pay per view. So I really do like what they did there. Now, as for the matches themselves, okay, what can we say about this? Sin Cara. Now, Sin Cara made his illustrious return after 7 months. You thought it was going to be epic, you thought it was going to be wonderful, but who his opponent was didn't really do much for him. And I'm talking about Heath Slater. Yeah. You really thought that Sin Cara would actually have a better opponent than Heath Slater, but unfortunately, he didn't. So it was a typical squash match. I really hope that Sin Cara actually did develop some sort of a feud with somebody, but I mean, I don't know what's going to happen there. The match really wasn't all that bad. It was a little entertaining, but I really wish that it was another opponent than Heath Slater. But moving on to another match, and this really does piss me off. They do not know what the heck to do with Ryback. I'm sorry. I am not impressed with Ryback. Don't get me wrong. Ryback is a strong dude, but let's face it, he's a mix between Goldberg and Batista. So they're going to do their best to try to fuse it and try to fuse energy. Just try to make people impressed by him by having him squash amateur wrestlers. Yeah, these guys will probably weigh maybe a buck and a quarter, probably less than that. And he's just like bench pressing him and all. No, honestly, no, I'm not really impressed. I'm sorry. But this would have been a great opportunity in my eyes to have Abraham Washington come out with one of his clients, which happens to be Mason Ryan, which is pretty much the same caliber, the same weight class as Ryback. This would have been a great opportunity to start something between Mason Ryan and Ryback. I would pay to see that match. Seriously, because these guys are awesome. They have probably I mean, they pretty much match like evenly with their physical shape, and they probably would be monsters in the ring. I would love to see those guys go at it. And it would have been a perfect time to bring Abraham Washington in there, to have Mason Ryan in there, and to literally start something with those guys. I would have loved to have that, but unfortunately, I'm probably not. And another match that kind of pissed me off was Damien Sandow. Now, I don't like his gimmick. I don't like the whole intellectual savior kind of thing because we've seen it before, and the intellectual uh, nose up in the air, classless kind of person, please. That was Triple H many, many years ago. Can we move on from that, please? But regardless, somebody like Ryback, do you honestly, not Ryback, where am I? Damien Sandow. Do you honestly believe that somebody like Damien Sandow can actually beat Big Zeke? No, not at all. He should have been dominated by Big Zeke. And I really would have liked something to start with those guys since Big Zeke rarely gets any airtime. So at least it would have been something. It would have been great for Damien Sandow because it would have been out there. And it would have been great for Big Zeke because he would have got his 15 minutes to get his paycheck. So I really wish they started something with these guys. But who knows? Good grief. But honestly, I love the backstage segment between Dolph Ziggler and Alberto Del Rio. It shows that Dolph Ziggler is now taking the initiative to actually separate himself from Vicky Guerrero and from Jack Swagger. I love the fact that he was like, look, I can take care of things. if I do this, then he'll be all slow and you'll be able to win the belt from him. I love that. I love that the fact that he was actually trying to sever himself from Vicky Guerrero and Jack Swagger. But now let's move on to his match. Okay, before I get into the Dolph Ziggler's match, I just want to talk about the fact that they actually still talk about what happened with the Big Show on Raw, and they're still talking about their 1,000 episode or whatever. Really, come on. SmackDown is not even a super show anymore. Why on earth are you going back to Raw stuff? And why in the world are you promoting this 1,000 episode whatever? Like, still, we know it's going to be 3 hours, okay? We know it's going to be 3 hours. I'm kind of sort of not looking forward to it. But we also know about the Big Show thing. But can we please move on? It's not even a super show anymore. It's just SmackDown. Can we just. But anyway, moving on to Dolph Ziggler's match. This was my main event of the night. I loved this match. The reason why I love this match is because it shows that Dolph Ziggler is definitely taking initiative for his career. He took the mic out of Vicky Guerrero's hand. He went down in the ring and he waited for Sheamus. That guy meant business. He should have went on his own a long time ago, and finally he is. Even though he didn't win that match, it was great for Dolph Ziggler. It was great for Sheamus. That was an action-packed match. I loved every bit of it. He kept up the same pace as Sheamus did. Sheamus tried to keep up with him. Their chemistry was in sync. I loved every bit of it. The fact of the matter is that neither one of them could beat one another. They were kind of in the same. They kind of. I mean, their fighting styles were a little different because Dolph Ziggler is a little faster than Sheamus is. But regardless, that was an awesome match. I loved every bit of it. I enjoyed it. I was so happy when Sheamus won, but I was even happier that Dolph Ziggler came out there on his own. It's something they should have done a long time ago. I know I repeated that, but I can't emphasize enough how. I can't say enough how much I literally love this match. Like, seriously, I really did. I'm so happy that Dolph Ziggler is finally getting the notice that he deserves. And I do believe that after this match, he is going to definitely step up his career. And I can't wait to see that happen. Okay, next match of the night. The Primetime Players, Young and O'Neal versus Santino Marella and Zack Ryder. Now, we already seen Santino Marella and Zack Ryder actually fight, and they became the Primetime Players tonight. Now, just thinking about it, okay, crime time, millions of dollars, money. You know, like, I don't know, like millions of dollars, millions of dollars, money, yeah, money. I'm sorry, it's the same thing. They just, it's the same different black dudes. They got new different black dudes with the same gimmick that Crime Time did. I'm sorry, it's Crime Time. I don't care what anybody's saying. It's Crime Time without the thug. That's about it. I'm sorry. They just look really weird in their uniforms and everything, but it's Crime Time without the thug. I'm gonna say it, and I'm sticking to that. But anyway, moving on. Santino Marella and Zack Ryder versus the Primetime Players. Now, it wasn't all a bad match, but the fact that these guys won, the fact that Santino Marella got the pin lets me know they're going to probably start something with these guys, maybe a feud, which is something I wouldn't mind seeing. It's just Zack Ryder. I mean, I love me some Zack Ryder, but I really wouldn't think that Zack Ryder would be in this mix. But regardless of this, I don't think it's going to be a bad feud. I think it's going to be something to look forward to, especially if it's going to be on a pay-per-view. But here's one part of the entire thing that kind of set me off. Now, the Big Show came out pretty much decimating everybody. Well, the Primetime Players were gone before then, but pretty much took out Santino and Zack Ryder. Now, the reason why I don't really agree with this is not the fact that I don't like him as a heel. Having him as a heel will bring a little bit more seriousness, a little bit more respect to his character, in my opinion. It will make him look like he means business, and it will make him look like that this guy literally has power, like he can take someone out as a true giant. The only problem is that the situation they put him in the storyline sets him up more to be a frustrated face than an actual heel. And now they're turning him into a monster? I'm sorry. The situation that they set up in was more of a frustrated face, something out of desperation, than actually just being told psychotic and just going off on everybody. Like, for example, Mark Henry. Mark Henry was a monster. That guy was a monster. He literally struck something in me that made me scared. I'm not even there. I'm actually watching it from home. And the same thing with Kane. Kane had no rhyme or reason of what he did. He just did it. Same thing with Mark Henry. Mark Henry is pissed off about not being taken seriously. So what did he do? He showed people that he had power. And when he got the belt, he became a monster because the way he acted, it set him up to be a monster. It set him up to be power hungry. It set him up to be the ultimate monster. Well, not the ultimate monster, that's Kane. But regardless, it set him up to be a true monster. But unfortunately, the Big Show wasn't set up to be that way. He was set up to be a frustrated face. And not only that, monsters don't explain themselves. Monsters don't have rhyme or reason why they do things. They just do it because they can. And what did the Big Show do the week before? Try to explain himself. And now he's like taking everybody out? No, dude. I'm sorry. You're a frustrated face. You are not a monster. And I really don't. I can't really say that he's a heel. I can't. Not yet. Not yet. Sure, he's gone bad. Sure, he's taken out all the good guys. But I can't truly say he's a heel yet. Not yet. Okay, after this, they had a little bit of a moment with AJ and Daniel Bryan. It's a given that AJ is going to be involved in the pay per view, seeing how she's part of the whole ridiculous love triangle between Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. And obviously, she's going to be a player in the pay per view, so we already know this. But moving on from there, it is going to be Cody Rhodes versus Tyson Kidd. Now, seeing how Tyson Kidd's music was not being played, we know what the outcome of this match was going to be. But Christian was sitting in the commentating area, commentating the whole match. And honestly, I do believe that it's going to definitely heat up with those guys. Like, seriously, I do believe that this is going to be a feud that's going to definitely heat up. I am kind of sort of looking forward to it. And I really do believe that these guys are going to actually put on a great match on the pay-per-view. So I'm really looking forward to it. It wasn't all that bad. Just the fact that, Cody Rhodes, his match was really short, but it wasn't all that bad. It actually did its job. It set up the whole feud between Christian and Christian and Cody Rhodes. So it did its job. So I'm not gonna totally hate on that. The main event of the night. Now I am not going to lie. I was highly, highly impressed with this match. I really was. The fact that Kane and CM Punk, they went like all out. Like seriously, I love my monster. I love my monster Kane, and he surely was a monster in this. And at first, I was kind of skeptical for the title. I'm like, okay, why are you doing this for the title? You have 2 weeks before the pay per view, but then let's face it, Kane isn't gonna win. But then the fact that they had Daniel Bryan incorporated in that really did things well for me because it made me feel like this could possibly be a triple feud. This could possibly be a moment where Kane can get involved and maybe be involved in the main event be involved not only in be involved in the match at the next pay per view, No Way Out. And at the end, as predicted, here comes Johnny Ace coming out saying, "Oh, we could do a triple threat match." And can we say predictable? Yes, we can. But the one thing I can say is that Daniel Bryan definitely brought in the heat as a heel when it came to this match. He definitely brought in a lot of energy when it came to the feud between him and CM Punk. And now that Kane's brought in the mix, I am hoping for a triple feud. That would be absolutely awesome. And finally, AJ has a role in this. And seeing how she actually stood up to Daniel Bryan backstage, who knows what card she's going to play? Who knows what side she's going to be on at the next pay per view? So I do believe that the main event did its justice, did its job when it came to the feud between Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. And now that Kane is put in the mix, and now AJ's finally having something to do with it, the one thing I can say is that this is definitely starting to build up to be a really good match for No Way Out. So I think it did a good job there. Now, my overall take on this entire SmackDown, the one thing I can say is that sure, there were a lot of things I didn't understand, especially the fact that I keep going back to Raw, talking about what Big Show did. The fact that Big Show came out and decimated everybody because I really don't feel like he is a monster, more of a frustrated face. And then Ryback. You can't really take Ryback seriously from the fact that he keeps decimating all these amateur wrestlers, but he actually had an opportunity to wrestle someone within his same that had the same caliber as him. But regardless of all that, I have to say that I really did enjoy the SmackDown. I do believe it did somewhat of a good job when it comes to promoting feuds towards the next pay per view, and I really did have a good time. So the one thing I can actually say is I am giving it a B. I'm giving it a solid B. I think this was a really good SmackDown. I agree to everything that they did. Maybe I wasn't so thrilled about the whole introduction, but still, I'm giving it a solid B. I'm going to do my best to see if I can try to go to the one that's going to be in Colombia, which is maybe about an hour from me. I'm gonna still see. I'm gonna try to go next week, but if not, more than likely I'm probably gonna watch it on TV. But regardless of that, that is my verdict, and I'm sticking to it. It is 15 minutes, almost 16 minutes, so I am done. It's Ninja Girl 30 signing off. Like I said before, if you, well, I really haven't said it before yet, but I'm gonna put up a discussion, and if anybody has a great comment for the discussions that I put up, I am definitely going to call you guys out on my next review and definitely either talk about your comments or just either or your comments are going to be on my review if they're good enough from my discussions. I'm already at 16:30, so I'm done. This is Nature Girl 30 signing off. Peace later.